Hello there. Thanks to Becca at Mind for asking me to speak to you about how mindfulness can help with your health and well-being. So mindfulness for me is like the ultimate well-being because it puts you in touch with your own innate sense of feeling good, feeling at ease. And somebody said that you are already the peace that you're looking for. Be still and you'll see that. And it's just the be still bit that we have a problem with, that we can't really be still long enough to actually see that, oh, okay, yeah, I get that. And so all the mindfulness techniques all have the basic same underlying principle. They're an invitation to bring your attention into the present moment. And there are a few different ways of doing that. But essentially that is the thing that they all share. That we're asking you to actually take charge of where you're placing your attention. And that may not seem like very much, but if you think about it for a moment, we can all go through, days or even weeks on like autopilot, where our attention just goes from one thing to the other, to another, and we're not really choosing what we're looking to pay attention to. And so that's like the first number one massive step that we take when we engage in any sorts of mindfulness practice, that we're actually exercising our choice, that we're actually choosing what we're going to pay attention to. And so the techniques might be anything like following our breathing, perhaps doing some counting, even repeating a phrase over and over to ourselves, maybe eating something and being aware of the experience while we're doing it. Any of those sorts of things are all the same thing. We're choosing where we're placing our attention, and we're choosing to bring it into the present moment. And then this is the other bit, crucially, that we have an experience of being, just where we are, but we're not experiencing it through what our mind has to say about it. So you could say that we're bringing an inwardly silent attention to whatever we're experiencing right now. And so mindfulness is a way of very quickly changing our experience of life, because we're changing our experience of our now experience, and life is always our now experience. Even if our now experience is worrying about the future, it's still what we're experiencing right now. We never ever get away from what we're experiencing right now. And so that's why, even to make a big change in our life, all that we need to seek to do is change our experience of right now, and then just stay here for as long as we can before we get dragged off by some thought again. And so that's the other thing that the mindfulness techniques help us do. That is, they help us become more stable, more able to focus just where we are right now. And so over the years, I've spoken to a lot of people who've been struggling with, a whole range of things, from anxiety and depression, but also things like childhood trauma, eating disorders, lacking in self-worth, OCD, having lost a lifelong, partner, wife or husband. All of those things have responded really quickly, like, within 1, 2 or 3 sessions even, when instead of paying attention to the thoughts that come up in our mind about things that have happened in the past or things that might happen in the future, that instead of that, we just bring our attention into right here, right now. And in order to do that, we don't even need our mind to go quiet. In fact, that's a good thing, because who can manage that? Who, even if you've tried to do a bit of mindfulness before, you'll know how difficult it is to stop your thinking. So instead, if we don't bother to try and do that, don't waste our time with that, but instead we just come to the place where we're noticing how things are. And then somehow that seems to change our experience of it. Because instead of being like 100% caught up in whatever it is that is dogging our lives, whatever it is that's constantly on our mind, instead of having to change that, all that we need to do is change where we are in relation to it as a first step. And so this first step is often known as witnessing, where we can just be aware of being anxious, for example, or feeling like we have low energy. Because the part of us that is connected to this noticing of it isn't actually caught up in the feeling itself. This part of us, which is kind of a bigger space, is just witnessing what is happening, what is passing through us, because we know that all of the thoughts and feelings that we notice, they come and they hang around for a bit and then they go again, and then they're replaced by the next thing. So those things aren't the permanent part of us, but this aspect of us which is always here and present, that is just aware of our experiences, is always present, is completely stable. And as soon as we can just get a little grip of that, keep a hold of that part of us which is just in the here and now, we find that instantly softens all of our difficult experiences. So that's a really great first step to take. And all that we need to do to experience that is to, as I say, exercise some choosing in what we place our attention in. So we could just have a go at that together. So the first bit is that we're choosing what we don't want to pay attention to. And so we can choose not to pay attention to any worrying about the future. Like, what are you going to do straight after listening to this video? Or what are you going to do later today, or, in the weeks and months to come? We could just park that to one side and not pay attention to it. We can choose not to pay attention to those thoughts when they come up in our mind. So they can still come and we can still recognize them, but we can choose, just right now, that we're not going to pay attention to them. We're not going to get involved with them. And if we're going to do that about future thoughts, which can lead to anxiety, we can also do that with thoughts and memories about what has gone before. Because everybody who walks up and down the street, everybody has experiences that have happened in the past that weren't easy, that weren't comfortable, some more extreme than others. So let's just again right now, let's just park those to one side and say that if those do happen to come to your mind, and all of us have particular favourites. I mean, they're not really favourites, but they're like frequent visitors. They're thoughts and feelings which come to us quite frequently in our day. Let's just choose from just this place of being wherever you are right now. Let's just choose not to pay attention to them. And actually, let's not pay attention to any thinking whatsoever. And that instantly gives us access. We step through the doorway into now, into the present moment. And let's just notice what it's like if we're not referring to something that's not here and now. So you're all sitting in different places. So wherever you are sitting, watching and listening to this video, just allow yourself just to be here, but not say anything, not have any mental comment. about whatever it is that you're experiencing right now. So, for me here, I'm sat at my table and I can see out of the window. And if you just as well, while we're doing this, perhaps if you do have a window available, just allow yourself to look out of the window, but not say anything. Not say anything about what your eyes are seeing. So your eyes are just simply seeing them, and there's no internal comment about it. It's a bit like maybe watching the TV with the sound on mute. You can see everything still. You don't need the thinking, commenting mind to add something to it. Because actually that commenting, that adding to it, actually takes you away from actually experiencing it directly in the here and now. So perhaps if you're lucky enough that you look outside and you can see a bit of the sky, or you can maybe see trees or greenery, or even if it's just a building, even if it is just a building that you see when you look out of your window, just notice what it's like, just seeing the shapes and the colours, not even saying the words like window or bricks or tree or any of those words. That you just allow yourself just to have the simple experience of it. And then maybe just allow your eyes just to roam gently around the room that you're in, if you're inside. But again, without getting involved in any talking about what it is that you're seeing. Just really ordinary things like, I'll use the word just so you know what I'm looking at, like door handle. I don't have any history with the door handle. And I can just allow my eyes just to look at it, and I can see the shapes and the colours and the light and the dark of it. And while I'm doing that, I'm connected to just being in the present moment, just being here now. And if you are just where you are in the here and now, you can notice how you feel about that. How do you feel right now? And if there's any feeling of calm or feels good, then you've had an insight, you've had the taste of what happens when you bring your attention just into the present moment without the distraction of the voice mind in your head. And that's what mindfulness is about. And as soon as we get the feeling of it, then we know how it feels, obviously, and then that gives us the energy, the motivation to do the practicing, because with practice we can do that more and more. And there are lots of YouTube videos and other videos available on mindfulness techniques. So, see what it feels like to turn your satellite dish receiver more and more to the present moment. Mute the voice in the head that has so much to say about everything, but you know that it gets, ties you up in knots sometimes. See what your experience of being is like. Give yourself a breathing space. Give yourself some time out from thinking about stuff and just experience it directly. And have yourself a mindful moment. So good luck with that, and I hope that really contributes to your own feeling of well-being. Thank you.